Hello? Yes? All right, well, oh, here we go. I'm mic'd now. Thank you guys for coming. My name is Pam Vaugh. I work at HubSpot. I've been on the marketing team for about 7 years, and I am responsible for the optimization and growth of HubSpot's blogs. And if I look familiar, no problem. So if I look familiar, it's because a couple of years ago, I volunteered at HubSpot to be photographed for our free stock photos offer, which means you can find me on random websites all over the web, doing things like promoting dental health, teaching women about self-defense, or giving people tips about anger management. Usually I'm doing this, but there's a variety of other poses that you can find me doing. But in my day job at HubSpot, like I said, I'm responsible for optimizing and growing HubSpot's blogs. And I'm going to talk to you about this one tactic that we've employed over the past year that's really paid off for us, show you kind of how we did what we did, and give you some tips for how you can apply it too. So when I think about growth and optimization in marketing, I think there are two different kinds of marketers. The first one hunts for this one big idea that's going to help them to grow exponentially. And to kind of explain what I mean a little bit better, I'm going to tell you the story about the $300 million button. So there's this big retailer, and they hired a usability company to come in and just evaluate their website's performance and see if there was anything that they can do to increase and improve the usability of the site. And what this usability company found was during the checkout process, this retailer was requiring people to either log into their existing account or register for a new account. And innocently enough, they thought, well, people who already have an account will remember their login credentials, no problem, just like I'm sure all of you guys do every time. Or if they're a new user, they wouldn't mind registering for a new account because they'll be back. They'll probably, make another purchase. They were wrong. What this usability website or company did was they just replaced that, login register button with a simple continue button. And you guys probably all know this very well as, continue as a guest. They allowed people to log in or register for an account if they wanted to, but it was no longer required. And this is what happened. Their sales went up 45%, $15 million in the first month, and $300 million in the first year. Big results, right? One big idea, big results. The problem is that this concept of the one big idea, it's elusive. Sometimes you might not even discover it, if it even exists at all. So then there's this other kind of marketer. This other kind of marketer grows through pervasive optimization. They try to optimize every little asset at their disposal that, cumulatively leads to the growth that they're looking for. They aim for a lot of little wins, so little $300,000 buttons versus paying or waiting for that $300 million payday. At HubSpot, that's kind of the marketer that we are. It's also the best way to kind of stumble upon one of these $300 million buttons. And to tell you the truth, this big retailer, who hired this usability company, I don't think they were trying to find that one big idea. I think they were just trying to figure out different ways they can grow the performance of their website. And they just happened on one of these big wins. All right, so before I continue, I need to pause and kind of tell you a little bit about the HubSpot blog, the team I work for. It's some good context to kind of understand what I'm about to tell you about. So our blog gets about 2 million monthly visits. It is basically responsible for 40% of the new leads that the HubSpot marketing team generates every month. We have 8 full-time employees just on the blogging team. We're responsible for 3 blogs. So first, the marketing blog. If you're familiar with HubSpot's blog, this is probably the blog that you think of. We also have 2 newer blogs, the sales blog. HubSpot now not only sells marketing software, but also sales software, so we have to cater to that audience. And then we also have an agency blog that we acquired about last year, and we have a big partner network at HubSpot, agencies that resell HubSpot to their clients, so we have this audience to cater to as well. And we are basically measured on 3 main key performance indicators: traffic, subscribers, and leads. And this is really what I'm responsible for figuring out how we can grow for the blog. We publish about 250 new blog posts across all 3 of these blogs every month. And over time, that has accumulated to 10,000 blog posts on the HubSpot blog. That's a lot of content, right? I'm sure you guys are a little bit overwhelmed by that amount of content, and honestly, I am too. And at HubSpot, we have really ambitious goals. We're just trying to grow and scale the company and the business, and we need to, those goals trickle down into the blogging team as well. In some cases, they're really ambitious. The problem is we can't just scale our content output, the frequency at which we publish, proportionally to the results that we target. And this is why. So this is a chart showing the number of blog posts just published through the WordPress platform every month. So 54 million new blog posts are published every month just to WordPress blogs. Doesn't include any of the other blogging platforms out there, doesn't include HubSpot's own blogging platform. That's a lot of content. The thing is, we have this kind of content saturation problem. The supply is growing, but demand is static. You're not going to sit and read any more content than you already do, yet the amount of content that's available is only growing. And the result is, most of this content is it's sitting out there and it's not getting read, it's not getting used. You guys probably put a lot of time into your own blogs if you're blogging. This is a really demoralizing stat, right? So this is our dilemma. This was literally our dilemma at HubSpot. And so what we decided to do was, rather than increase the frequency at which we publish content, publish more and more every day to kind of grow and scale, what we decided to do was to look back at our old content. And so I'm going to tell you a little story about kind of how we came to this realization and walk you through the process of what we did. So in 2014, HubSpot launched this new report called Attribution Reports. It was amazing for our team. I like to say that the day I found out about attribution reports was like Christmas morning to me. I was on maternity leave. This was a report that I had asked for so long from our product team, and I came back and it was there. And what this report allowed us to do was pinpoint the number of leads a particular blog post generated. And prior to that, we kind of knew overall how many leads we generated from the blog, but we couldn't pinpoint exactly how many one blog post contributed. So this was eye-opening. This was going to be awesome for us. So what I did was I conducted this massive analysis. I had all this data at my fingertips. I was so excited. This is what I found. So the first thing I found was that 76% of the monthly views that we got to our blog came from old posts. And by old, I mean posts that were not published that month. So you know how I mentioned we publish 250 new posts every month? 76% of the leads the views that we got from the blog were not to those posts. They were to old posts. And this is why most people think that it's day one or bust, right? You publish a post, you see that big spike of traffic to that post, and then over time it kind of just, trickles away. The post gets buried on your blog, you kind of forget about it, and you're focused on the new. When in reality, the typical post will generate more traffic, after the first day than it did in that first day. This is the second thing we learned. 92% of the leads we generate every month also come from old posts. This was huge to me. I mean, it makes sense considering most of our traffic comes from old posts, but this was really alarming to me. But not as alarming as this. 46% of the monthly leads we were generating came from just 30 blog posts. 30 individual articles on our blog generated about half of the leads for us every month. Nuts, right? To put that a little bit more into perspective, at the time we had about 6,000 blog posts on our blog when I did this analysis. So this is kind of the distribution of posts. So, you have 54% of leads coming from from the majority of the posts, and 46% coming from 30. And this is kind of how that 30 looks in the grand scheme of 6,000 blog posts. And that doesn't even make up a full percent. This was our first holy crap moment. We were like, oh my God, what are we doing here? All of our bloggers, every one of our full-time bloggers is dedicated to the new stuff, dedicated to writing new stuff. But our value is all coming from this old stuff. This doesn't seem right. So then that's basically how the historical optimization, which is what I'm calling it, was born. We kind of got ourselves together and thought about this data and figured out what it meant for us, and we came to two conclusions from this analysis. The first was, let's conversion optimize the posts that we know are generating a lot of traffic. Let's look back at those posts that are old but still getting a lot of traffic, figure out which ones aren't converting traffic into leads very well, and figure out how we can increase that conversion rate and get more leads out of the posts that are already generating a lot of traffic. The second conclusion we came to was, let's figure out which posts we know do convert really well, which of those old posts do convert the traffic into leads well, but aren't necessarily getting a lot of search or getting a lot of traffic. And let's figure out if we can better search engine optimize those posts so we can pull in more traffic to the posts we know convert well. In other words, let's get more out of the content we already have. Let's optimize the past. I mean, who wouldn't want to fix the past, right? That's me on the left. I'm pretty sure my bangs started at like the nape of my neck. I'm not even going to talk about my best friend's dress. So I started tackling this conversion optimization piece just because I had way more experience doing that. I felt like I could get started much easier with that. I wasn't really an expert on SEO. Quite frankly, I was a little bit concerned about that part of the project, but we'll get to it. So if you remember, the goal is to generate more leads from those existing high traffic posts. And just so we're all on the same page about how we generate leads from our blog, how most people generate leads from our blog, here's just a kind of a simple refresher. So you have your blog post. This one's about reporting. At the very bottom of the blog post, and there could be other opportunities to include calls to action within the post, but at the very bottom we have a call to action, essentially a button that people can click, where that will take them to a landing page where they can fill out a form that converts them into a lead on a piece of content that's relevant to the subject of the blog post. So again, the blog post is on reporting. This is a CTA for an analytics ebook. Everyone got that? Everyone's cool? Cool. All right, so the first thing that we tried was conversion optimization based on picking the most relevant offer. This is how we do it on brand new posts where we don't have any data about how it's going to perform. You match the call to action as relevantly as possible to the subject of the post. It was very hit or miss. Sometimes the conversion rate would go up, sometimes the conversion rate would go down, sometimes it would stay the same. It wasn't a good tried and true method. So then we thought, what if we conversion optimize these posts based on the keywords that people are using to find them? Most of these posts, or actually all of these posts that are still getting traffic, it's coming from organic search. These posts rank well for keywords, and people are clicking through and coming to our posts. Let's see if we can figure out what those keywords are and incorporate that into our conversion optimization method. Jackpot. So we tried it on one post. And this is what we got. So we increased the conversion rate on this blog post by 240%. And this post was actually performing pretty well in terms of conversion. 1.15% was actually pretty good for us. So this was big. And so we've scaled this out. We've done this on a ton of posts, and we've essentially doubled the number of monthly leads that we've generated from those old posts that we've conversion optimized in this way. This was our bread and butter. We knew this worked. So this is how we do it. So we identify what those top viewed old posts are. We export our analytics. We sort it by most views. We figure out what these posts are. Then we identify the keywords that people are using to find those posts. In most cases, it's the keywords that we know have a decent amount of monthly search volume and that they rank well for. Then we incorporate those exact same keywords into the calls to action used in the post. In some cases, HubSpot is lucky enough to have a lot of different content for offers in our kind of repository of offers. And so we can easily kind of reposition the title of the offer to kind of incorporate these keywords. But sometimes there are instances where we didn't have an offer that applied at all. We would just create a brand new offer for these posts specifically. We knew what the opportunity was because these posts were generating a lot of traffic, and we knew that it was worth it. Here's an example. So this is a blog post on our blog, how to write a press release. It ranks something like, I'm not sure right now what it ranks for, but at the time it ranked like 2 and 3 for the keywords, how to write a press release and press release template. So this is what we did to conversion optimize it. So the first thing we did was we added this kind of like inline call to action, a text-based call to action, right within the intro. It's kind of set apart. It stands out. And I think the reason that it works is if you put yourself in the shoes of a searcher, I mean, you guys conduct Google searches every day, I'm sure. If you're searching for something and you click through on a result, you're probably scanning it really quickly just to figure out if that piece of content is going to give you what you were looking for. And so if you're, in this case, searching for press release template, you click through this post and see that you could just quickly click and download a press release template. It's pretty enticing. The second thing we did was we optimized the bottom of the post CTA. This was what the old CTA looked like. We had basically packaged our press release template that we had actually already with another ebook about just PR. And this CTA was kind of burying the lead. We mentioned in that like fine print that there is also a press release template, but it's not in your face. It's not called out. It's easy to overlook. This is what we changed it to. Pretty much a no-brainer, right? So then we added this slide-in call to action. Essentially how it works is you scroll down a blog post, and at some point a little call to action will kind of slide out at you. We did the same exact thing with this. This was the old slide-in CTA, again, just burying the lead. This one didn't even mention that it was a press release template included. And we just put it right there for them. All right, so that was the playbook. We figured out how to do this conversion optimization on old posts. The next part of that, that project was figuring out how we can get more traffic to the posts that do already convert well. So historical search engine optimization. This was the one part that kind of caused me a little bit of anxiety just because I only had really a basic understanding of SEO. Now, if you remember, again, we're trying to generate more traffic to those high converting posts. So this is what we know. This is kind of a general chart that you can find anywhere of how the click-through rate of search results kind of declines after the first result and all the way down to page 2. You really need to be on page 1 and you need to be on the top of page 1. That's what we know. We also know that inbound links are still a top ranking factor in how you rank well. So the first thing we thought of was, should we do some guest blogging? Should we get some of our content onto other websites that we know have high search authority in which we can link back to the content we're trying to rank better? Maybe that's a viable option in order to get some increased search traffic to our posts. I mean, it's not really scalable. You do all this work to write a post that's not even going to be on your website. You have to work with the owner of the website to get it placed. A lot of back and forth. Got to create a whole blog post. This is not going to work for us, given the scale at which we're trying to grow. So then I thought, wait a minute, I know we've dabbled in updating old blog posts before, and actually I kind of remember seeing how the traffic to those old posts increased after we did that. And this is actually a chart that's in our software that we didn't have way back when. It's fairly new. It shows you how the rank of a specific keyword has changed over time for specific pages on your website. And so I went and I looked back at one of the posts that I know we had updated a couple times, and that, March, I can't read it from here, I think it's March 2014 date, that was when we updated and republished the blog post, and you could just see how that rank for that how to use LinkedIn keyword skyrocketed after that. And honestly, all we did was update and republish the post and just promote it like we would a normal post, a new post. What if we do that? Let's try this. So we did. So we decided to try it. Again, jackpot. This is just a sampling of blog posts that we've updated and republished. This is their organic search traffic before we updated the post, and then we waited a period of time after, and then measured the monthly traffic after that. And for the most part, we've essentially doubled the organic search traffic to blog posts that we've updated and republished. Some of them we've tripled, some of them perform a little bit less, but this works. We've done this since we started scaling it up, I'd say around November and December of last year. And since January, we've increased our organic search traffic to the blog by 50%. So it's definitely worked really well for us. So this is how we do it. So first, we identify posts with page one potential. And so what I mean by that is a post that we know ranks decently for a keyword that has a good volume of search traffic. So we know that if we increase the ranking to the top of page one versus maybe where it is on the bottom of page one or on page two, we'll get more of the click-throughs from the search traffic. We update the post. And I'm going to share a resource with you at the end of this that will show you exactly what we do when we update the post. I don't have time to do it now. But it could be anywhere from just refreshing examples in the post or adding a new section because something new has happened since we first published the post that we should mention here. Sometimes we have to rewrite them because they're just so far gone and out of date, but people are still coming to them. We do some basic on-page SEO based on the keyword research that we did to know which keywords it's currently ranking for and what we want them to rank better for. We apply that conversion optimization method that I mentioned earlier. Even though the post already is converting well, we've seen how we can take one post that does convert well and make it convert even better. So we'll apply that same logic to the post. And then we republish it as new. And we literally keep the same URL. It's just like updating a web page. Keep the same URL, update the content. We change the publish date so that it's new at the top of our blog and it's recent. And then we promote it, like I said, just the way we would that we would promote our brand new articles. So here's why this works. Google rewards freshness. We took a look at our own blog posts and the number of, or the ranking of these posts and how old they were. And the majority of the ones that rank on page one are 6 to 12 months old. They're fresh. People reward freshness too in search results. We've done some usability testing where we found that people who are evaluating search results will look to see if there is a date in the search results. And if a post is from 2012 and they see another one right next to it that's from 2014, they're going to pick the one that's 2014 first. We're also building off the existing post search authority. These posts are already ranking okay. They're already getting some search traffic. They've already got some inbound links. So you're basically just building off of that instead of starting from scratch with a brand new post. And then the new visits that we drive to this post through promoting it to our email subscribers, promoting it to our social media followers, that just leads to even more social shares and inbound links that help it to rank even better than it already does. It's also really scalable compared to that guest blogging technique. We can do a few of these updates per week. We're now doing about 2 to 3 per week. And it also supports more than one goal. In addition to this goal of historical optimization, it fills a brand new slot on our editorial calendar. Our editorial team, those 7 other people on my team who are creating new posts, they can take a post that's already partly there and get it to the finish line much quicker than they can if they're just starting out writing a brand new post. It also just enhances the overall quality of the content on our blog. It's the right thing to do. We have so much traffic coming in from organic search that's coming to these old, outdated posts. And we're actually just elevating that content so it fulfills their needs better. All right, a few final thoughts. So this isn't for everybody yet. You really need to have a mature blog. You need to be generating significant traffic from search in order to have that data to do this optimization. You need a critical mass of subscribers and social media followers. It's because our reach is so big that it helps us to kind of, when we promote this content, get a lot of traffic to it that helps it to rise in the rankings. And then you also need content worth updating. If you've only been blogging for 6 months, most of your content's pretty fresh. You don't have a lot of stuff worth updating. It also shouldn't be your, whole strategy. It should be a piece of your strategy. New content becomes old content eventually. So you need to be creating that new content too, along with optimizing your old content, in order to have content later to optimize. So I hope this was helpful. If you do have a mature blog, I would encourage you, don't forget to look back at that old content. There's a lot of value sitting on the table there that you could take advantage of. And if you are interested in learning more about very specifically how we did this stuff, I wrote an ebook about it. There's a lot of detail in there if you want to follow this playbook. I outline it very much in detail. Thank you, guys. If you have any questions, I'm not sure how much time I have. I have 2 minutes. Or you can tweet at me on Twitter. My handle is @PamALump, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. Thank you.